Hi, my name's Zach McNally. Welcome to my new YouTube channel. I've had this YouTube channel, I think, since I was maybe like 11 years old or 12 years old, and it's sort of become what I think most people's YouTube channels were in the beginning, just like an amalgamation of goofy videos and stuff that they uploaded for like school projects and things like that. But I do a lot of content creation for other stuff. Like I have another YouTube channel, it's totally unrelated to anything I'm gonna make here. And I've spent a lot of time there, and I realized that I actually just wanted to revamp mine. So this is my first shot at it. I'm filming in my closet, which is also sort of where my desk is. The camera doesn't really do it justice. I know that sounds super cramped. I feel like so often I'm filming in like a hallway or a closet or something. Yeah, this is an experiment. I might change around my apartment. I might change the format of this video a lot. I might do a ton of different things with the channel. I think that's actually the exciting part. I know what I want this channel to be, but I don't exactly know how I want to do that. Really, I want this to be a space that I can connect with people and people can connect with me, like me, not on my sort of other socials and stuff. I want to talk about a lot of what I'm very into, which is a lot of art. I live in New York City. I go see a lot of live art, live performance, theater, dance, music, movies. I go see a lot of things. I'm very that sort of keeps me going when I have the social bandwidth, of course. And I'm also involved in that. I'm a performer myself. I've been doing this professionally for over a decade now. And I want to talk about my inspirations, and I want to talk about fashion, I want to talk about music, I want to talk about the things that I'm into. So basically every month I want to release one of these videos. It'll be a sort of recap of all the things that have been inspiring me for the past month, and what I think will keep inspiring me until, you know, I find the next set of things. And, because I think that's like imperative to an artist, is we find these things that inspire us, that keep us going, that help us generate art, and then we move forward from that, and we create more. And so I want to make a video like that. I want to connect with that. I want to make separate videos on other very specific stuff, you know, just music or just fashion. I want to talk about a lot about fashion. I really love fashion. But I want to, you know, I also want a place that I can talk about my upcoming projects as well, stuff that I'm working on and shows that I'm about to be involved in that I could talk a little bit more about. One of those main things is I've been in a show for a super long time called Sleep No More. That show's closing, and I think its cultural impact is pretty amazing. I'm sure a lot of people have a lot of questions about that, and I would love to have a place that I can maybe answer some of that, especially once it's closed. So without further ado, I think that we should just get into it. So for me personally, fashion is a huge part of my life. I really enjoy getting dressed every day. I think that it makes me feel good to get dressed every day. It's like it's a very important part of my character, right? I feel like I want to leave the house dressed in a way that makes me feel really good on the inside. And fashion, I think, as an art form, is also just really interesting to me as an artist. I've always loved clothes, always loved the idea of putting clothes together to make outfits. I feel like now in 2024, that's so much more acceptable for men and male presenting people to be into fashion and to like getting dressed and it's culturally okay, like we care. So fashion obviously for me is huge. Some of my favorite designers are Kid Super, Craig Green, Martine Rose, Samuel Ross. I love Henrik Vibsko. Who else? I'm like actively looking at my closet to see what's hanging up. I mean, of course, I love the Japanese designers Issey Miyake, Yohji Yamamoto, Junya Watanabe, Comme des Garçons, all that stuff. But lately, Martine Rose has really been blowing my mind. I can't always wear her clothes. Also, if I can afford her clothes. I find Martine's style to just be so unique, so interesting. I think also another designer that I'm really into lately right now, I don't have any of his pieces, is Willy Chavarria. I think the culture that the two build, and I think what they draw from, is this is really, really incredible. You can tell how rooted in their past, in their upbringing, their design sense is, but then they also have this amazing way of heightening the tailoring. It's like they take this culture and they take their culture and they almost exaggerate it in a way that it then pronounces their influences out. And I think that's pretty amazing what the two of them are doing. And I just think Martine Rose is really cool. I recently built a fit like this. I'll show this on the screen right now. That I think is really cool. Obviously Martine Rose and some of these designers, it's very costly. Some of these clothes are really out of the reach of the average person. I know a lot of me, almost all my designer pieces, excuse me, are all secondhand, which I also think is just a better way to consume. That's a whole other thing. But I do think that most of this stuff is very out of reach of the average consumer. So I started making videos of me creating some of these looks through thrifting, and thrifting is a huge part of what I do as well. I mean, I think like thrifting, again, back to what I was talking about before, like, you know, getting clothes secondhand, whether it be designer or just, you know, just secondhand clothing, you know, your everyday basics, I think is a better way of consuming fashion, because fashion is a consuming market, and if you're not careful, you know, and we're not really that careful. But I started creating looks like the one on this screen here that I created from other stuff, and that's something that I'm gonna attempt to do more of. So if you guys have designers or you have specific looks from a time, like any show or anything like that, that you want to see me create, you should let me know, because I enjoy the task of trying to create a look based on like thrifted pieces, and I also try and, just for bonus points, keep it under $100. I think that's really cool. I think like the average person even spending $100 on an outfit could seem kind of crazy if you're not into fashion. So I think the idea that you could thrift maybe the entirety of a cool look for under $100 is awesome. So if you have other designers, you should send them my way. So Martine Rose is really sort of a big influence for me right now. I also really, as I said before, I really love what Willie Chavarria is doing. I think his silhouettes are so cool. He sort of scratches the same itch for me that Shinya Kozuka scratches, really like almost ballooned, exaggerated silhouettes where they still do a lot of workwear, and I think that's really interesting combination of having these exaggerated silhouettes but workwear materials and construction. I think that's really unique and interesting. I'll show off a couple of pieces that I have. One I'm wearing in this video. I just recently picked up this long sleeve Craig Green print. I'll show a little thing on its own. I love this. It's halfway between a shirt and a sweatshirt. During the time that he was doing his digital print, I'm not exactly sure what collection it's from, but you can see it has this sort of almost faded flower print inside of it. It looks like they're almost far away or out of focus, and then it's got all these very, very straight parallel lines bisecting the entire thing. And then you can see, if you look close enough, it's got almost like glitches inside of it. He did all these digital prints, like the vibrating flowers and vibrating stuff, and this is very much in the same vein. You can see like this line across the front, like cutting the image. I really enjoy how sculptural a lot of his clothing is. I have another Craig Green here I'm going to show on screen. This is a piece I've been looking for forever. This was his collaboration with Champion. A lot of them are very interesting. You can see that the tag is on the front. It's almost as if the shirt is backwards and inside out, but it has the Craig Green and Champion embroidery on the front. And then the back just has these really amazing details. It's very structural. It's very in the vein of his sculpting work. It's got a tag at the bottom there. Yeah, it's really great. It's a really cool collaboration. If you like Craig Green and you can get your hands on a couple of these Champion pieces, I absolutely think you should. I think they're really, really cool, and they're subtle. And I think with a designer like Craig Green, you're wearing it for basically two reasons. One, because you like it, and two, because you want to like sort of secretly signal to other people out there that you like Craig Green. Which is cool. I mean, it's a sort of tribalism thing, right? Like if you don't know Craig Green, then you're not really going to care. You're going to be like, that's a weird shirt. When I wear that shirt, when I wear the inside out backwards shirt, that's a lot of people. That's a lot of what people talk about, is how they think I'm wearing my shirt incorrectly. But those who know Craig, they're like, wow, that's awesome. I love that shirt. And for me, I had that shirt in my Grailed cart for, I don't know, like a really long time. And then all of a sudden the same shirt popped up in a better size on Depop, and I think I got a notification right away, and I snagged it almost immediately. So if you sold me that Craig Green shirt on Depop, thank you. I really appreciate you. I have had that thing in my cart for a year and a half. Other recent pickups include this Henrik Vibsko shirt from the Spaghetti, which is a collection that he had a few years ago. Here you can see that the pocket sort of emerged from the bottom. It looks like a double layered shirt. I really love this. It had a really small stain in one of the pits, and the guy sold it very cheaply to me because of that. In one stain treatment remover and one wash, it looked brand new. It just goes to show you out there that I think people sometimes look at clothes and think they're unsalvageable because they have a stain or like a button fell off or something, and you can easily get them for very cheap, repair them, and then have them for another 5-10 years, something like that. So go for it if you see a piece like that. I love Henrik. If you don't know him, you should definitely look up his work. He's a very interesting designer. Again, it's very playful. He has an idea behind a collection, but so many of his collections, again, are exaggerated silhouettes or just really strange. He's very whimsical. I really enjoy that. My girlfriend also really enjoys it. I actually think one of her Henrik pieces is behind me. Yeah, there you go. You can see this is a Henrik piece. Does it say which collection? No, it doesn't say which collection this one's from. You can see it has these really interesting texture. I don't know. Can you see that? Yeah, it's really cool. It's a full-length dress. He's very playful, and I really, really enjoy his work, and so I was really happy to pick something like that up. I didn't have it particularly like in my mind to get a shirt like that, but when my notification went off that somebody had posted another one, I think that was on Grailed, or maybe that was Depop as well. I'm not really sure. I had to pick that one up because I really, really do love how playful and just interesting it is. They're also always like conversation pieces. That shirt is probably very, very subtle, but I think still it's really unique and interesting. Yeah, so that's like my recent fashion pickups. That's actually a lie. I got one more thing. I don't know how I'm gonna wear these yet, okay? I'm not sure. Maybe by the time this video is edited and posted, I'll have made an outfit with these and I'll think they're amazing. I just met this guy, Jason. He was really amazing. He was having a closet sale. It's actually where I got this, and this is how I met him. But he had these Marni loafers. I don't buy a lot of Marni. I don't know a lot about Marni, to be totally honest with you. I know of them peripherally, and I've liked some of their work. I saw these. They reminded me of Martine Rose, her collaboration with Clerks, like a dress shoe with like puffier silhouette. I thought I wasn't going to look very good in them. I didn't know if I can pull them off. Honestly, I still don't know if I can, and I think if I don't like them and I can't pull them off, I'll probably just sell them again. But I did pick up these loafers. God, hold on. Okay, look at these. These are really unhinged. They've got the Marni tag up the back. I mean, this heel's probably what? It's like like a 2-inch heel. It's not really crazy. Yeah, it's like 1.5 inches. They're really amazing. They actually look more purple in this light than they do normally, but you can see they're puffy. A very exaggerated silhouette, very like almost. I also like them because it's like a square, like almost a rounded square. Like this part is round, but the base, the sole is a rounded square. Maybe I'll try and overlay a little video of me trying it on so you can see. Do I know if I'm gonna be able to pull these off? I have no idea, but they were super inspiring. And again, I don't know, fashion is a grand experiment, and I like to experiment with my style, and I think I can underplay them. I had them on with a really plain outfit when I was trying them on, and they worked really, really well. They're really comfortable too. I don't know if I can pull them off though. I think I'm gonna try tonight. I'm going to a movie screening tonight, and so I'm gonna try, and we'll see. We'll see. My girlfriend, who likes very colorful and crazy things, thought they looked like clown shoes, and she's not wrong. Okay, that's enough. That's enough fashion for now. Another thing that I want to talk about, another thing that really inspires me sort of all the time, every day, basically, I'm always listening to music, 100%. I collect vinyl, not as much as I used to because it's a crazy expensive hobby, but that's definitely something that I've collected in the past. My love for music is very broad, and I think depending where I'm at in life and with the season I'm in and, you know, things like that, like a show that I'm working on or whatever, I will sit in a specific genre for a while. Now, fall for me is almost always characterized by trip hop, like late 90s, early 2000s, actually late 90s is even giving it, like mid 90s to early 2000s trip hop. Massive Attack, Portishead being two of the big ones. I think like that era is really incredible. And for me, sometimes, I don't know why, but like the fall always brings that out in me. But I do find that I lean into darker, down-tempo trip hop at the time. You probably know Portishead from the song Glory Box. That's what most people know. The album is called Dummy. If you want to get into Portishead, look up Dummy. It's a great album. It's incredible. It's a really good listen this time of year. I think for Massive Attack, if you want to listen to Massive Attack, my favorite album is Mezzanine. I think obviously my favorite song on there is Angel. I think that's probably a lot of people's songs. It's great though. They're two of my favorite sort of fall albums, and I find myself absolutely getting into them. And there's one other album that I know is super strange. This is really niche, and this might connect with maybe one singular person on here, but if it does, that's amazing. There is a game called Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines. It's an old PC game that came out in 2000, I want to say. It's one of my favorites of all times, actually. Recently, they're going to make a second one if it ever gets out of developmental hell. But there was a guy named Rick Schaefer who did the music for that game. And he was very inspired by a lot of trip hop and the era that he was creating music in to make it for this game, because it's a very dark, atmospheric game. It takes place in LA. Obviously, it takes place at night because it's all vampires. The atmosphere in that game is unbeatable. It actually is. If you've never played the game, you should look up a video, look up a long play or something. I think it's a really incredible game. And if you like vampires, just find a way to play it because it's so very good. But the soundtrack is incredible. And actually, last year for Christmas, my brother bought me the vinyl of it because it came out with like exclusive tracks or unreleased stuff. It's so good. And I also find myself listening to that album at this time of year because it really does fit in that whole same vein, but it's all instrumental. So sometimes that also is just something that I want. Being an artist, I want to imagine other things. And so if there's somebody else singing or talking, I like connect on a different way. And sometimes I don't want to do that. I just want to sort of zone out. So my 3 fall recommendation albums: Portishead, Massive Attack, and the Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines soundtrack. Go listen. I'm going to get into my projects last. I want to talk about that last. I want to quickly cover, obviously, some like TV and media that I'm into. We just left October. I'm filming this the first week out of October. Most of October I spent watching horror movies. I love horror movies. I love scary things. That's what my other YouTube channel is all like scary games and hauntings and things like that. That's not what this channel is going to be. So I don't want to spend too long on that because I yap on my other channel all about that. Last month though, it was basically all scary movies. I tried to watch a scary movie every day. My brother and I share a Shudder subscription, so I was watching I will watch anything scary. A big standout for me was I finally watched Lake Mungo, which is super depressing. Very up media. It's done like a mockumentary style in Australia when this family loses their eldest daughter, and then they go back to their house and they realize their house is being haunted by her. It's super dark and moody. It's very good, though. It's a very good movie. Also, Nicolas Cage has really just been hitting for me last month. I saw Longlegs, and for the most part, I really loved it. Again, with the atmosphere. Atmosphere is obviously big for me in my life, if you haven't noticed. I thought Longlegs' atmosphere was truly unbeatable. Like the 90s sort of gritty, dark detective, noir thriller type situation, but then they added all in that satanic panic and things like that. The ending was left a little bit to be desired for me, but I thought it was really great. And then always in October I get back into Mandy and anything by Panos Cosmatos, the director. So if you've seen Beyond the Black Rainbow, but he directed Mandy with Nicolas Cage. I'm sure you've maybe seen that, or if you haven't, you can go look that up. It was sort of Nicolas Cage renaissance of coming back. It's just the picture of him covered in blood and he's making a crazy face. It's really good. They're very strange movies. Panos' directing style is really, really amazing. Somebody said something that really stuck with me. He makes movies that make us nostalgic for an era that never existed. He does sort of like a retro future 70s thing. It's very interesting. I would check them out. Yeah, go check some of his work out. I think it's good for the fall. It's a bit heady, especially Beyond the Black Rainbow is very visual. There's not a lot to connect with there. You'll have to decide pretty early on, like in the movie. I think in the first like 10 minutes, you'll realize if the pace and the atmosphere of that movie is for you. Panos also did a really amazing short on Guillermo del Toro's Cabinet of Curiosities. I think that's what it's called. I probably messed the name up, but Guillermo del Toro made a horror anthology show. Panos Cosmatos episode is, I believe, called The Showing. It's incredible. It's the best episode on there, in my opinion. So I would absolutely go check that out. And keeping with the spooky theme, I also play a lot of video games. That's something I probably want to check in just about, but it's always just going to be like really quick because, you're not playing. I have been a massive fan of Silent Hill since I was way too young to play it, honestly. And this whole past month has been characterized by me playing the remake of Silent Hill 2. It's incredible. If you like Silent Hill, if you like survival horror, if you just like good games, go pick up Silent Hill 2. Bloober Team made an incredible game. I'm a massive fan of Silent Hill. Let's see if I can find my sweatshirt. This was the Online Ceramics collaboration. I have the t-shirt in there somewhere. I don't know where it is, but I have that down there somewhere too. I don't know. If you like video games, go play it. It's so good. The remake is so good. I'm almost done. I've really been taking my sweet time with it because I know the game so well from the original copy, but it's so incredible. Go play that. Go play that. My God, so much of this media is so dark, and I'm wearing like this light flowery shirt. And lastly, and probably what some people are even on the channel for, is what projects I'm working on currently. So a lot of people probably want to know about Sleep No More. Sleep No More is an immersive theater production in New York City created by a theater company called Punch Drunk. It opened in 2011. It's Shakespeare's Macbeth set in a 1930s hotel mixed with Alfred Hitchcock's Rebecca, where the audience follows the actors around wearing white Venetian carnival masks, and you watch the story get played out over 3 hours in a 1930s hotel called the McKittrick. It's on West 27th Street and 10th Avenue in Chelsea in New York City, and it's been running since 2011. When I initially left college to join that production way back when, I did an initial stint there for 2.5 years, and then I came back periodically as I do, and I've come back a little bit this year, just every once in a while, to fill in for the main titular tragic hero, Macbeth, and it's finally closing. It announced it was closing last year, and it's officially now closing in January of this year. If you've never gotten to check it out and you're in New York City or you're close by and it is monetarily feasible for you to do so, I recommend going and seeing it if you can. It is a really incredible production, and New York City will be slightly less artistic without it in there. I mean, obviously there's amazing things happening in New York every day, but it has been an artistic staple of theater in New York City. And honestly, if you don't know what I'm talking about, this is the first time I'm telling you, or the first time you're ever hearing about it, you need to go look it up right now. And I guarantee, even when you look it up, you're still not going to understand how insane this production is. It is definitely by far one of the craziest pieces of theater that has ever been created. I mean, at the time that it came out, it was literally, I think, a cultural shift in what people imagined theater could be. It seamlessly blended dance and theater and 1930s noir and Hitchcock, all these things, and it became this touchstone, this meeting point for all those things. And I was a part of it for many years. And if you have questions, leave them in the comments, and in the next video I will see if I can answer it. Maybe I'll even make a video about my time there, post a couple old pictures and things like that. It does close in January, so again, if you've never seen it, go see it. I will say the producers, Immersive, with an E, have a new show down in the financial district. It's called Life and Trust. It's loosely based around Faust and a few other stories by the same author. There's a Dorian Gray in there and some other things like that. It's a very different show. It's a similar format It's set in a bank, which is very fitting in the financial district. It has a cool coffee shop that exists during the day. And I can't say much now, but I will be spending a lot of time in the financial district in January. And that's all I can say. I'm not going to say any more than that right now, but if you're interested in knowing more, also let me know in the comments below, and I'll say as much as I can, which is not much, but that should be exciting. That'll be an exciting new year. So you can go look that up as well, because when Sleep No More closes in January, that will be another way that you could experience maybe this type of theater. It's a very different show, though. It's very different. That's the disclaimer I'll say. It's a very different show. I know. If you're here and you know about Sleep No More and you know about Life and Trust, you're probably, you know it's a hotly debatable topic. Which one is better? And blah, 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 blah. Look, there's space for all of it. Okay, there is space for all of it. They're very different shows. They leave you feeling very differently, and I will be happy to possibly be involved in both. And the last thing I'll talk about is a solo project that I've been working on for a super long time now. I guess it's not super long time, but a year and a half. I create a lot of my own work. The pandemic sort of put a big stint in that, because artistically it really made it hard for me to create my own work. But I have a new work coming, I think tentatively titled right now, it is called Reason Engine at the moment. Tentative title. It's a working title, but I believe it's called Reason Engine. It's a solo show for the most part. There may be voiceover from whenever they're actor, but it's a solo show. How do I explain this? And it's sort of like an artifact of this generation that, like, if someone found in 1,000 years, they would understand, like, a millennial perspective on AI and the internet and the world becoming more digital. I think I'm part of one of the last generation, right? At least my age. I was born in the 90s, where I didn't have the internet in my home. Like, the internet just did not exist in my home, and then it did. And so I had, I was there with, like, MySpace and the beginning age of social media, and watching how the world has changed from when, like, we didn't have that to now we do. I think that's an interesting thread to pull on as a person. And then I think our relationship now to social media and artificial intelligence, our relationship to leaving artifacts behind for people. So I think Reason Engine is a little bit of a Turing test, and also a recording session where a man meets an artificial intelligence that is basically trying to record a log so that people can understand what it was like to be alive during that time. It's part sculpture, it's part live performance. Basically, it's like each section sort of broken down into organs, somewhat like Egyptian canopic jars, if you know the thing where, like, we're segmenting things off to be preserved for later in life. And initially, it will be done live, as though the audience, myself, and the engine will be conducting a Turing test, and then hopefully it will stand as a installation sculpture eventually. I'm gonna do a rough reading later this year, maybe early next year, of the script, and see what people think and see if it makes a lot of sense. Obviously there won't be a lot of the elements that I think are imperative to it, because I think there's gonna be some projection and stuff like that as well. But it's something that I'm super excited about. It has changed shape many times, and it's something that I'm really interested in working on, among the other things that I'm working on. A new show, because I haven't made a show since I made one with my brother back in 2019 called Hound's Wake, and you can Google that too. That was really, really fun. Very, 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 very different show. That was all sort of like Irish folk tales and folk music, and the devil, and all kinds of crazy stuff like that. Yeah, so I guess that's probably it right now. I think that's everything that I wanted to talk about. That's my monthly update. I want to do these once a month. I think if I try and do it any sooner, there won't be enough interesting things for me to talk about. I probably still didn't even dig as much into some of these topics as I want to, but I think I can do individual videos. And if there's more thread that you want to pull on, that you want me to talk about, you should just let me know in the comments below. And I mean, welcome. I'm excited. I know what I want this channel to be, like I said, but I don't exactly know all the ways I want to go about it. So it's gonna be an experiment that you're gonna go on with me, and I'm really excited about it. And I hope that as I do projects, you can come here and be updated on that, and be updated on the fashion and anything else that I'm influenced by at the time, and we can keep the conversation going and just have a good time together. I hope you have a great week. Happy November. Take care of yourself, and I will see you really soon. Thanks for joining me. Love you. I'll see you soon.